So yesterday, um, my video got cut off for whatever reason with AI. It was a little button that got pushed on my camera with the little tripod holder. Kind of funny how it got cut off when it did, so that's why I just uploaded it. And I said, what the fuck is Trump doing? Um, like thinking about what's going on, and yeah, you probably can hear my laundry going in the background, which is, oh well. Yeah, so, well, I was going off on a tangent and got cut off, like usual. Um, anyway, so like, I wonder, is David Icke right? David Icke right with the reptile notion that he's talking about? How, you know, maybe it's not really humans in charge. Maybe it is aliens or reptiles or whatever, because it's kind of weird how you got Dan Bongino and you got Kash Patel who were going on all these different podcasts, and then they basically did a 180, and I mean, it's pretty much just take our word for it, bro. Like, you don't really show us anything. They give us like some type of video that just shows the door for like 10 hours, and I guess there's a minute loop that's missing when it comes to the Epstein deal. Just basically, we're going to, and the funny thing is like, and I tweeted about this immediately when they started bringing up, like, we're not going to release the child pornography, and I'm sitting here saying and thinking to myself, nobody wants that released, and two, nobody wants to see that shit. Anyone that's like not fucked up in the head isn't a pedo anyway. But, I've seen a couple people comment on my Twitter saying, well, you can like blur people out or blur shit out, or, kind of like how they redact different documents where, they black it out. But just show the prominent figures. We want to know who the prominent figures are. And I've heard the argument where, well, it'll collapse the economy. Well, guess what? Oh well. Oh fucking well. We need massive changes, and if there's fucking pedos running the show and it collapses the economy, then so be it. I want these pedos held accountable. I don't want them doing that shit anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous if that's what's going on. Trump is going along with everything because he's worried about the economy, like the effects of the economy, because like some elite people might get locked up. Like, oh, is their business, like their business might get hurt, but like, Hollywood, like really, Hollywood's gone anyway. If Hollywood is really, the conspiracy theories, like Hollywood's locked in. But like regular things that people buy, like people are gonna still buy from the company, even if like the guy at the top gets locked up. It's just like, yeah, he's gone now. He's locked up. The whole thing where, like, I wouldn't want that job, to see like kids go through that like horrible You know, like people have to. That's people's jobs, like the FBI, to go through like the child pornography crap. That would be like absolutely horrible. Or to see like snuff films, like have to like go through that and watch that crap. Couldn't imagine that. But like you could get people's names. That's what we want. We want to know who the prominent figures are so we can stop supporting those people. How about if you know who you bring them to justice? And I think that's the thing, is like, that's what people want, is a fair and balanced. And if you are so powerful where just because you have a lot of money or resources or assets that you're above the law, then why the fuck are we following the law? If you guys want chaos, we can have chaos. You know, if you get treated a little bit better than all of us, that's one thing. But like to have to do these heinous acts and there's no justice if this is happening, I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that we don't know. When I woke up yesterday, and you could tell I was visibly tired. In my video, but to see Trump's body language, to see him on the defense when the reporter brought up the Epstein list, where he's kind of like backpedaling or trying to defend, like, why are people talking about it? I don't know, because we want to know if people maybe like him are implicated in this type of scenario. We don't know. I don't want to support people that did this type of heinous act. There's always been questions because there's pictures of Trump with Epstein, but there hasn't been like substantial proof that he was going to the island and participating. As far as I know, there's, for instance, like, you don't know what people are doing behind the scenes who you're associated with. So they could be doing heinous acts, and then you find out and you say, I'm gonna stay away from that. I don't like the way things are going. I'm gonna distance myself. And that's what it seemed like. Maybe he didn't have enough proof to expose it, but it was kind of like, I'm gonna distance myself. I don't know. Maybe he was involved completely, or maybe they're the elites who really run everything, not Trump, are the ones that basically said, like, we don't want to be exposed, so don't expose us. I don't know. The way that they handled it, like I said before, like, just to come out and say, oh, there's nothing, just take our word for it, and here's a little, like, there's nothing here. Like, so what was Epstein going to prison for? Like child trafficking. I don't even know the charges. I don't remember. Like, I don't remember everything. I just know that he was in prison for all. That's where he died. But he was going to go face some type of charges, heinous charges, disgusting charges, and I think that he was let off before, like some type of thing, like scenario before, and he either got off, and I don't know. I don't remember. It's I don't spend my time on like court cases and remembering everything like that. I have like vague memory. There's like, honestly, like, there's so much information that we're getting hit with. It's impossible to retain everything. Considering somebody like me, where I already have a bad memory as it is, to think, like, I don't know. I speak for like the average person. I feel like, you know, we're bombarded with tons of information, and it's kind of like, and like even Elon said, our brains are constantly trying to forget. It's like that um, the Married with Children episode where Kelly Bundy is trying to study for something. I forget what it was, but basically they were feeding her, I think it was her brother, feeding her full of information so she could pass a test, and she was like forgetting how to do basic things, you know, for back then. It's funny because kids nowadays aren't taught anything. They don't see an example because they're always, you know, they got the iPad. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too for having my kids be too immersed in the digital realm. But it's such a, anyway, back to the whole like what's going on with Trump is like, I'm not happy. And do I regret voting with the vote, like supporting him? I mean, when I look at what I was presented with, other candidates, I didn't see anything that was viable. I didn't like what the Democrats had to offer, and I voted for serious change. And I'm seeing some change, just not like a bowl in the china shop change where I was really, really hoping for to see like the deep state, like being like the swamp, the deep state, really being put back on their heels, and like being, especially being exposed, you know, to see like a lot of these conspiracy theories, and you know, to see like maybe some of them were true, but it's like just hidden, you know, we're just going along with everything, and we don't know. It's a lot of we don't know. This could be happening, but we don't know. One thing that I do think is whatever's like being presented to us isn't like 100% the truth. Obviously, the government has been hiding sophisticated technology. Don't know what it's from. I don't know if it's interdimensional beings. I don't know if it's from other countries. It's kind of weird how our technology has evolved so rapidly. It hasn't been stagnant at all. Like this big technological boom. You know, we had basically the same way of living, just really hard, you know, peasant king type of way, and then all of a sudden, like the last few hundred years, we've had like we went from horse and carriage to vehicles, to cars, to planes. Over the last 100 years, especially, you know, we got computers and being able to get information so rapidly, be able to like send people, talk to anybody really, and whether it's the telephone, which was developed, I don't know, like 100 years ago or whatever, or being able to send people texts, AI, all this stuff is like developed so rapidly. it's like, where did this come from? How did this happen? Is it really just people just grinding away, coming up with these ideas and innovation, like these huge steps in innovation, like Elon's rockets that can land and be reusable. Like, they're not just being wasted to go into space. It's like they come in, the rocket lands back on the little stand. Like that, there's some things that there's a lot of human innovation, and I can't say the word, but anyway, so it's so weird how things have evolved so rapidly. And then you see like how the society has reacted, how we are being more and more separated. Even in my lifetime, I've seen it substantially more so, probably, than the average person. I've witnessed it early on, very quickly, and I think that like prominent artists, whether they were sold out or whatever, but they've witnessed it too. They've felt it, and that's why I think I have kind of like a different spin than the average podcaster. I have a little bit of. I'm not like the most creative person. Like I'm kind of creative. Not as creative as like the artists back in the 80s and 90s, or it's kind of like you just innovate off of stuff that's already been created, and but you just kind of have your own spin. Like, you take something that sounds cool or whatever and just kind of spin it a certain way. But I do definitely, what I've seen and I've felt, and I even called it out. Even if you used to go back on my history on my Twitter, as you would see, I was calling out the cult of MAGA, saying like that there's, even maybe I even said it on here, that there is a faction of MAGA that is very cultish, that Trump can do no wrong. You don't want to question him, just like the left. And and I can see like who I'm more aligned with. And I already knew anyway, like people like Alex Jones, who are, I like Owen Schroyer, those type of people that are, even Blair White. Like, I'm seeing her tweet. It's funny because I put something out and then see her put something out, or him, whatever, a little bit after, saying something very similar. It's really interesting to me to be first, to be in line with these people, and it's some type of, even though they don't know who I am, and I'm I'm just a regular person or whatever. Like, I'm in that type of like, we're connected somehow, and it's same with like a Tim Pool or Ian Crossland, and Phil Labonte to some extent, where we got the critical thinking skills, and it's like something is presented to us and we think in a different way, not like automatically. I guess it's kind of like suspicious, like, what, like, really, like, it has an element of street smarts. That's what street smarts is you see something that doesn't really, it seems too good to be true. That's a big thing, is like, for instance, if you were just to, start working with somebody and you don't even know them and you don't really have a relationship with them, and like, all of a sudden they are like doing really nice things for you, and it's not just like a little bit, like, oh hey, like if I needed a ride or something, they gave me a ride, but they like no, they gave me a ride and like they gave me something that had a lot of value to it as well. Like they're trying to like it's kind of like you don't even know me and you're trying to give me something that's worth like $500 or for nothing, or like you know what I mean, something with a lot of value where it's like, dude, we don't even have that type of relationship, man. Like I don't even know you, so what? Why are you going above and beyond, like to like an extreme? So you look at something like that. That sounds too good to be true. Some type of like scam where it's like, oh, like if you give us this much money, like you're gonna have this much growth, and it's kind of like you look at something and you can spot scams. That's by you know kind of seeing past the phoniness, and that's what street smarts is basically. To me, maybe that's not like the true definition of the street smarts, but I like that's what like my intelligence overall. Maybe I don't have the highest IQ. Maybe like I don't have like all the intelligence. Like I'm really intelligent in one area, but I feel like I got a good balance, a good grasp of things, a good like I feel like I'm on the cutting edge of um, knowing with knowledge, with knowing what type of technology is coming out, how fast it's getting better. What's when I put another thing is like self-awareness or just awareness in general, to see so many people lack self-awareness nowadays is like I almost feel like I made videos like this about this in the past, but it feels like almost like a superpower just to have self-awareness, and something like this was very normal when I was growing up. Everyone had a lot of self-awareness, and I think that a lot of people are basically they're in their subconscious full time. I'm in my subconscious too. Like I'm just kind of like going through the motions, you know what I mean? But like I do have elements of critical thinking where I'm not in my subconscious all the time. I think this is life would be a lot easier if I was more like everybody else and I didn't. Maybe I could shut my brain off. Sometimes like sleeping is really hard for me because I can't shut my brain off, and that's I'm just waking up and I was like, why am I awake? I was so tired. I need to rest my brain, and I can't because I'm just like thinking so much. And I'm not trying to say like smarter than everybody. That's not it. I just think you know, considering what I see, because like you know, like people who live in their subconscious could be smarter than me for sure. Like they can retain information and then like repeat it way better than me. They're better at communicating. Like, but the perception is like they are like I I'm a humble person, and I know this comes back to talking about me, but I'm like you know, hey, listen. This is my channel, so it basically is about me. So if you come here for like the basic news of what's happening, or it's like some type of like headline I put on my video that got attention. I think that one of my videos, why don't go to bars, like like most of my content is, dude, me trying to navigate whatever the hell this is. I don't even know if this is like, I think I'm in baseline reality. I think that I am. But it feels like it's not real as well. I sound crazy. I know I sound crazy, and that's fine. But I feel like I am in some type of simulation as well. The fact that like stuff is so repetitive in this life, so repetitive. Maybe I'm not saying that we're in a computer simulation or whatever, but maybe, even if like you believe in, like, if you're a Christian, you believe in Christ, which, for me, I question things, but, and a lot of it's like, I don't know, I'm just open-minded. I hope that like when I pass away, I don't go into a hell forever because I felt like I wasn't given the information, the proper information. We got the pyramids and we got you know what I mean? It's like this stuff was made such a long time ago, and there's a lot of things that we're just like, we don't know. How old is this world? 13.5 billion years old, that's what the scientists say. But even if, like I was saying, even if you are a Christian, this is some type of like a simulation that God put us on to see what we will do in this simulation, and where will we go to the next life, right? So like if you have that belief where you go to heaven or hell, your true life isn't here. Your true life is in some other realm, whatever that is. Whether that's if you believe this, it's in a despicable, torturous place that you're going to live forever, or it's going to be in some beautiful, prosperous, loving place that you're going to live forever, and that's where your actual life is. In this life, this is only temporary. We're only here for so long. This I can't take with me. This can't take with me. This can't take with me. Whatever, like, even hypothetically, if I was rich and I was wealthy and I was a billionaire, can't take it with me. For me, like, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I mean, I've read the Bible multiple times. For me, I don't like to really read that much. So I like Audible, I can listen. I like podcasts, I can listen. I've listened to the Quran, the Bible, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch, a book about paganism, the Torah, Taoism. I've studied. Not saying I retained all the information, but I've studied and have a general understanding of things when it comes to different religions and different belief systems. And at the end of the day, I don't know. What I think the best so far is the best society to live in is a Christian society. So I gravitate towards Christians, and I understand, like, there's different traditions that have been merged with Christianity that are paganist type of traditions. Well, there's some of them at Christmas. I remember being told that Jesus was born on December 25th when there's nowhere in the Bible that says that. That's just what they basically estimate he was, probably because of the solar equinox. If that's what I might be saying the wrong things, but where those 3 days where it's basically up until December 25th, where the day after December 25th, the days start getting longer. The summer equinox, I don't know if it's happened yet, but it's gonna be coming soon, where we have the longest days. People used to live based off of seasons. That's why they were so big into astrology back then, because like the different. You think that they were stupid people? They were pretty smart, like back then, to look at the stars and try to see where things are at and how things are aligned. Like the Mayan calendar is over in 2012, and I felt like things changed after that to some extent. Some people believe that we are all dead, and this is just a simulation that we went on to. Some conspiracy theories are that CERN blew up the world, and we're in some type of computer simulation. I don't know. What I do know is like the Mandela effect is a real thing, and I do have different. Like I feel like I was born in at least a different dimension than I'm currently in right now. This dimension feels a lot less warm. It feels a lot more cold, and that could be socially because of people being more and more isolated, whether it's because of technology or because of pandemic. The pandemic, people felt like they had to isolate themselves more. And basically when we program ourselves to think about stuff like forming habits, how once you do something for like 60 days or something like that, that's a habit that you formed, because like you basically put that into your subconscious, so you just automatically do stuff, so you don't even have to think about it. I'm just going to the gym, or like, and that's just automatic. Like at first it's hard, you don't want to do it, you don't do it that often, or changing your eating habits, or whatever your lifestyle change is, and then you adapt to it. And I think that the lockdowns really affected people a lot, and I think that they did it. I've really tried to distance myself from people, because for somebody like me who grew up an introvert, was already in isolation, whether it was me isolating myself or whatever. I wasn't really around a lot of family. I was around, my mom and stepdad and sister or whatever, but I remember me just going off by myself in my room and doing stuff by myself a lot. I'm not saying that we didn't do stuff as a family, but I just, maybe it was self-isolation. But anyway, so to see how people were basically more introvert back when I was younger and I was the outcast, to having something like forced onto people with the lockdowns to really mess with people's psyche, and I think that it's made people more on edge. Not only that, they feel a lot of pressure financially as well. when you go on social media or whatever and you see that, you know, regular people like you look at yourself as like that's just a regular person, and you see like they're doing really cool things, and you look at your own life and it's like I'm not doing that. And a lot of that could be fake. You know, I remember growing up and seeing people with new cars and thinking to myself, man, they're so rich, how did they do that? But I didn't understand like they're in debt. You don't see like how much debt people have. So you automatically think they're rich because of the perception that they're giving everybody. So like I think that social media has affected people in a really negative way. If there's a lot of positivity to it as well, but I don't think the average person should. I don't think they're prepared to deal with social media, the negativity that comes along with it, the feeling like I always have to perform, I always have to put out something new, something interesting, to get the validation. When they would have got that validation, whether it's comments or just the notification from real life. And what it is, what we have going on is we got a bunch of people with dopamine, their dopamine receptors are just completely fried. You know, I drive to work and I don't have anything on. Maybe I'll make a video. Sometimes I'll put it on something I'm listening to on the way home from work to try to keep me awake. But like a lot of the times I drive around, I don't have music on, I have nothing on, I'm just thinking. And I think that a lot of people they don't have time to think. They don't have any type of silence. Not to say that I have like a ton of silence like I'm some type of monk or anything like that, but I do go, I don't need to always have something in my ear. I don't need to have music going on all the time. I don't need to have a podcast going on all the time. And I think that a lot of people don't have that downtime. Like they can't put the phone, like any type of like boredom, they put the phone up. And I'm guilty of it as well. And I think that our creativity has really suffered because of it. Because of the constant. Well, I think another form of intelligence that people aren't thinking about is patience. I think the next generation and people in general aren't very patient. I used to be one of the most impatient people on the planet. And life has really taught me patience. And to see how impatient I was compared to like how I was completely impatient, just like how everyone is now. This is why I relate to Gen Z, because like there's a lot of similarities that I felt like I went through first that they're going through now. The difference is it's like more so. I felt like I had flashes of the way that they're living now back when I was younger. When I was, my kid's age, I was thinking to myself, how the fuck am I gonna move out? How the hell am I gonna take care of? I'm gonna have to like work like 2 jobs just to support myself. And I had no direction. I didn't want to work hard because it didn't feel like it was worth it. Even back then, it felt like the women didn't really like me that much. I could see like women, like they didn't seem like they in person, they didn't seem like they were very friendly to me. And maybe that was just the early stages of the technology. And I'm not anti-technology at all, but I'm just trying to point out where we are because of our technological advances that have happened so rapidly and the effects of it on society. You have so many people who are depressed. You hear a lot of like less joy, and you don't have that kid in you anymore to dream, to want to shoot for the stars. There's a childlike innocence with me still that I feel like I protect. There's a little bit of naive, even though I do have like street smarts and stuff like that. There's that little hope. There's the dream of like, like even though I'm old, I'm washed up, the chances of me becoming a prominent figure are very low because I'm old, like it's cringe for me to make music or act like I'm some type of a rock star, like if you go look on my TikToks or any type of shorts I put up here in the past, like they're so cringe because I'm an old man. The youth are the ones that really, they're the ones that are supposed to be the creative. They're the ones but the youth are basically lemmings. Like they don't come up with their own stuff anymore. I remember so many different trends would happen so rapidly. This is in style, now it's out. This is like, maybe like there are trends, but it's more like social media trends or like TikToks or whatever, like people just repeating what other people do. And sure, there's fashion, but like when it comes to music, like especially music and movies and stuff like that, it was the youth pushing that. Of course, you had like famous people, actors and actresses in movies, but it was more so like there was all these people that you can see them develop, like they would just come out of nowhere. And it's not like they weren't talented, they were highly talented. Same with music, but we don't see that much. I'm not saying that we don't have talented people nowadays. What I'm saying is I don't think that people have that extra time when I was younger to, like, I used to play all these different sports. I used to rollerblade. And I remember being able to get so good at rollerblades that I would stop like ice skates on my rollerblades. That's how I would stop. Spending time to work on pitching or something like that, which you see less and less young people doing this now. You don't see them out in the real world like you used to. And yes, like rural areas for sure. But you don't see the parks filled anymore with like Tim Pool was saying, like when he was younger in Chicago, where the baseball fields, you'd have a lot of kids out there like playing baseball. But you don't see that much no more because everybody is on this, and they're swiping, and like I partake in the little shorts sometimes. So like I don't I don't do it too often. Like I notice at work when I'm trying to stay awake and I got a couple hours left at work, and I don't have to be on the floor, so I can just be on my phone. I swipe a little bit, but I really don't do the swiping of the shorts that much. And I think that a lot of people are I think that's really messing up people's dopamine receptors and causing it so they don't have patience. There's a reason why these people who came out with these platforms like Mark Zuckerberg, they don't allow their kids to use it. There's a reason for that. I don't know what else to say, but I know this video went off on some type of different track. I mean, that's just what I do. Everything's off the cuff. I don't script anything. I'll have something that I want to talk about for a little bit, and then it's just maybe I think that politics nowadays is just what I think that we're gonna see is a lot of death cults emerge. I think that like the young, like the Jimstown or whatever, they took the Kool-Aid. You had the comet that happened in the 1998 or something, the Halley-Bopp comet, where they took the Kool-Aid. I wouldn't doubt if you started seeing a lot of these death cults emerge into some, like, people are they're very cult-like, and people want to be accepted. For somebody like me who's basically a lone wolf, where even though I've supported the Republicans, well, I've basically been holding my nose and supporting these people because at the time they were more aligned with my values than the Democrats and my beliefs. I've said this before, where things can change because I've seen it myself. When I used to be a Democrat, where I would have been I was a far leftist when I was growing up. I had long hair. I didn't want to cut my hair for my job, and they didn't want guys to have long hair. So I bought a wig. I was considered a far leftist with my beliefs. I used to dye my hair all different types of colors. I had this pierced, I had my ears pierced. You know what I mean? And these people, when I see these people do this now, it's just you're not very unique, man. This was unique back in the day. There was people that had tattoos, but not like they do now. I don't even want tattoos. Basically what I'm trying to say is to see where the left has gone, how far they've gone, how they've gone to want censoring people, want war. I want balance and peace. I don't want conflict. But if he sees me say something on Twitter, it's mostly to try to say something off the wall to separate myself from everybody else, to get the attention from the prominent figure. Sometimes I might be attacking them. But would I do that in person? No. Am I trying to say stuff so people want to come and attack me in the future? No. I just point out the reality of things. And I don't always get everything right. I'm a human. I have to work a real job. Like I have a household that I maintain. I do everything, like I'm so independent. Even trying to like decipher information. And that's what people need to strive to be, is just try to be independent as much as possible. But it's not easy because you always feel like you have to be accepted a part of a group. Because you'd be labeled an outcast. Nobody likes to feel like they're not accepted. Even Trump doesn't like to feel the negativity, and he wants to be accepted. He wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be loved at the end of the day. I don't care who you are. One more thing before I go, because this video is almost an hour, is the whole, I guess like the AI off of Twitter was saying anti-Semitic stuff and maybe praising Hitler. What people need to understand is even the most heinous people, like a Hitler or a Ted Bundy or the Green River Killer, like the Unabomber, to think that like everything that they were about is completely evil is absolutely absurd. Just, you know, you can look at them and be like, yeah, they're a piece of crap for what they did, for sure. But then there could be good ideas that they did come, you know, like it's so dumb to see somebody like they might have been evil, they might have done evil things, but then they might have had good ideas. As well. You know, if you look at the Green River Killer, for instance, the guy was a horrible person. I mean, he, disgusting, despicable person. And I'm not defending him in any way. I'm just like, he was convicted of killing 48 women and teenage girls. And he said he probably did more than that. He was a necrophiliac. But he also had a wife when he was doing this. I think he had a kid as well. I don't remember, but I think he had a family. So like he was doing some positive things as well. Like he worked a regular job. You know, like I'm not sure that the people we look down on, like who are like complete pieces of crap that we look down on, I don't think that they are 100% evil, and everything that they've ever done in their entire life was like, and I'm not trying to say like I'm defending evil people. I'm just saying like there was some good things that they did as well. Even like you look at Mother Teresa, did a lot of great things, or somebody that has done a lot of great things, like a lot of positive things. Like to think that they haven't done anything evil at all in their whole life, there's no skeletons in their closet, is absurd. Because we're all human. We all make mistakes. And I'm not defending the evilest people that have done despicable things. I'm not defending them. I'm just saying, like, they didn't do everything completely like evil. Like they weren't all the time. Like they did do good things as well. So it makes you wonder, like, is there really hell? Do people like Hitler, you would send him to hell forever for what he did, but maybe it's what he was raised in that caused him to do that, you know? Maybe there was so much torment on somebody that they didn't ask for when they were a kid. Not to say, I'm not trying to defend them at all, but I'm just saying, like, if you're God and you're presented this and you look at their whole life and you're like, yeah, they did that horrible thing, they need to suffer for that, but you're like, well, they did do some good things as well. So you're just gonna sit here and throw everything that they done good out the window. Like, that doesn't even matter. And like there's no second chance, it's just forever. Like, forever is, what is forever? We can't even comprehend what that is. Just never ending, just, I know this sounds crazy, but we're all human, and we all are capable of doing despicable things. I think that we're all capable of doing good things. But to say, like, to take every single idea and just, like, you know, like somebody on yesterday on Twitter, and I was like, with your logic about Hitler, he was a vegan too, so like, if you're going to say, like, basically he drank water, so if you drink water, then you're like Hitler, you're a Nazi. That's your thinking. So, like, basically, whatever he did, even if it was positive, he was an evil person. If you're gonna use that analogy for everything, it was completely, because there's good things that align with them too. So yeah, and this video is long enough.